Okay, I just want to make sure that I gather this. What you're looking at is a real-time adjustment to what the entity has been engaging in. As I step out of my office Monday through Friday at 5 p.m., you see the light source that's in alignment to that office door, and you see that light activity that cascades across the sidewalk in alignment to that office door. And what you're seeing today is the light source that is in no way down there in alignment to the dumpster, and the light activity cascades across the parking lot, and then you see the light activity all across building 1800, the impossible light activity across building 1800. Understand how this is different, and it's based on where I'm at. Okay, so while I exit my office Monday through Friday after 5 p.m., and I'll remind you about one of those videos as well, and you'll see what the entity is doing at 5:01 when I step out of my office, and all the light activity that's all over building 1800 and all over the asphalt. Understand why it's different today, because of my different location, both of which are, again, can you see? Both of which are speaking to impossible light activity, because the sun's not going to stay present all day long. It's rising on through my living room window, and this is literally setting from my bedroom window. It is 5:47 p.m. But I also want to let me zoom out. I also want you to act that the entity is not setting the sun. I cannot see this from my office door. When I open my office door at 5 p.m., you see the light source in alignment to that parking lot, and it's in a perfect alignment with me, where I stand in front of my office capturing window, and you see my shadow on the sidewalk, and you see me taking pictures of my shadow on my office door. That's where that path of light remains, and that's what I continuously document day in and day out. You're looking at today, and it's 5:48 p.m. in alignment to me and my bedroom. You're also looking at what's supposed to be the explanation for what is sunlight. First of all, it's impossible, because the entity is maintaining the light source as I documented on September 6th. That's the correct date, September 6th, 2020, at 5:30, and after 5:45, I remain at 706 West Holt in Ontario, California. And what is above building 1818 is not creating any light activity from 706 West Holt Boulevard. Okay, this is not going to result where the sun is remaining through the windows visible at that intersection, excuse me, through the windows of that Starbucks at this time. And also you have what will never result, which is the maintenance of the sun at either locations. I'm at Starbucks, and I'm capturing video of what is the engineered light inside. My shadow is appearing up in the ceiling corners of that Starbucks, which is the pattern of conic that's engineered light inside, with the dynamic engineered light inside. And this is during the 9 o'clock hour, and at 5:30 p.m., at 5:45 p.m., I'm still inside, and I'm capturing also the light source. This is speaking to the pattern of conics as I documented it at 706 West Holt Boulevard. But even earlier than that, at 706 West Holt Boulevard, as I stand at the same venue of Starbucks at San Antonio and Holt, 7:36 in the morning, I'm capturing the light source. So that is a whole timestamp of what is 7:37 in the morning, as late as after 5 p.m. at one address. That's capturing the phenomenon. Starbucks is a group stalker. Starbucks is facilitating state monitoring in concert with the state of California. But you have what is mutually exclusive, as I'm comparing two venues. And even at this venue, I want you to pay attention to what I've already captured. And while I am at my office door, if this was the sun that's able to be seen from my vantage point inside of my bedroom window, then I would never be able to capture it when I'm at my office door and I'm standing diagonal to what is that parking lot, and the light is aiming across the sidewalk. This is, again, another iteration of what is stalking in the path with light. This is capturing what is the demonic focus by the people of the state, who are being systematically exposed, as I show you literally picture by picture, I mean step by step, with regard to how an entity is engaging in group stalking and monitoring. In addition to what you're looking at, this is the light source that's above apartment 1818, and this is nowhere visible from some vantage point at Starbucks, inside of that Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard at all. But also, from while it's above the apartment 18, you've got the light activity that's appearing on the face of building 18. The light source is above the building, okay, but yet you're looking at what is light activity that's appearing. Oh, I just want to speak to, again, that's impossible light activity. And again, the impossible light activity has nothing to do with the light source. And what the entity also engages in is actually hitting surfaces and then create the windows, for example, with this light activity. But this is under all circumstances impossible light, engineered light. While you're looking at the people of the state walk around in circles on the property, this is creating light activity. It's not exercise. You're looking at what is a demon that's engaging in what is pacing. It's activity creation and facilitation at the venue. This is the entity, and that's just one. This is all of this is accomplishing the same, and that's why you have the maintenance of a specific environment. But I want to be clear, 5:45 p.m. It's currently 5:51 p.m. and this is speaking to what is, again, not only is it not the natural environment, but the entity is highly inconsistent because it's stalking with an environment. So it's not possible to be consistent with an unnatural engineered environment where it's based on where the person you're stalking with this environment. So it's impossible to be consistent, if you understand what I'm saying. This phenomenon is literally speaking to what it was not engaging in. When I come home and I come into my apartment at 5 p.m., the entity has engaged in setting the light source in alignment to my office door, not in alignment seen above building 18, because while I'm at my office, I'm not facing the opposite direction, facing building 18, which is where this is right now. Okay, so if I was down there at my office, I would be turned around facing this direction if this was the sun. The entity is keeping that light source, which is today, in alignment to me inside of my apartment building. When I'm at my office building, it's in alignment to me while I'm downstairs, stepped outside of my office, which is facing building 1810. This is an entirely different direction. And this is also speaking to what is under no circumstances still any iteration of what would be sunlight or the sun. This is the entity engaging in what is setting the sun at 5:52 p.m. in alignment to me. The entity is engaging in what is rising the sun at 6:30 in the morning in alignment to me. This is, again, the scientific impossibility, in addition to what is never the sun, as I'm showing it maintaining presence in its zenith at Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard, as I remain inside of that venue, capturing all of the iterations of engineered light, and also the presence of what is the impossible light activity, engineered light, which is, again, this is another iteration of engineered light. This is supposed to appear as sunlight. Okay, engineered light is also that which is appearing in the shade, meaning it's clearly not occurring from the sun, all right? This is not appearing from the sun either. The sun doesn't stay stationary at one address for 12 hours in the day. This is the illusion. So you're breaking the illusion down. The entity engages in what is the maintenance of engineered light, even in the shade, which you've shown. So that's what I mean by engineered light. The engineered light inside of Starbucks, which is occurring on the ceilings and occurring while the people of the state are patrolling through a drive-through and are patrolling in traffic. And the entity is maintaining that light source over the building of 706 West Hope Boulevard for the duration of the day. At no point is it ever migrating away. And this is not visible from any location inside of the Starbucks, as I'm capturing when I'm inside of Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard. And this is, again, capturing what is a matter of common sense and not a matter of rocket science. But this is also that which is clearly verifiable by any scientific expert. I guess if necessary, I don't even want to say I guess, necessarily with regard to debunking any sort of unreasonable ability to reach what is clearly the conclusion of what is capturing what is demonic and that which is undeniable. This is unnatural, and it is also speaking to what is clearly demonic, serving a criminal system. This is what the Los Angeles Police Department are engaged in, and it is the same thing that the Ontario Police Department were engaged in when you are capturing the phenomenon that surrounded what was their presence in that environment. And the two are not occurring at the same time. And while you're capturing the sun setting, again, the same analysis, the state of Florida never had the sun. If this was the sun, then the one sun that we have that is rotating around the earth is never reaching the state of Florida, while I'm looking at it remaining over my apartment and setting in alignment to me at my apartment at 5 p.m. And you're also looking at what is the impossible light activity. So I also want to pay attention. While you have, this is one form of engineered light. You see the engineered light that I've shown you, for example, while I'm in the shade. You've seen the engineered light that creates magnification. This is engineered light that's supposed to be the result of the sun hitting objects and in the shade, okay? The shape of the windows that you see on building 1818, this is engineered light. That's engineered light, that's engineered light, that's engineered light, that's engineered light, that's hitting the outside of the building, but yet you also have what's occurring inside. So the entity is suggesting that sunlight is not only magnifying through closed blinds on the inside, but it's also bouncing off of objects and hitting the outside of the window, in addition to what is maintaining what is the sun itself from 6:30 in the morning until after it's about to be 6 o'clock in 5 minutes. It's 5:55 p.m. No, that's not the sun. And also, it's also not the sun because it remains at 706 West Hope Boulevard. Maintaining light activity inside of my apartment is that which would never occur if that was the sun at 706 West Hope Boulevard, beaming through the windows and remaining over my head in its zenith, as I documented in the morning morning at Starbucks, where I remained for the duration of the day. At no point did the sun ever migrate such that it was migrating in any direction west. The entity kept that light source just like you see here, for me to see it inside of my apartment, and also for it to be literally in a totally different location, which I would not be able to capture from the front door of my office while I'm facing the parking lot. I'm not facing this direction, which I necessarily need to be in order to get this light source. Don't forget this video, because you're going to remember what is, I've already established what's not the sun. You are clearly looking at what is stalking with the light source. This is literally it. The entity cannot be consistent because it's based on where I'm at. That's why it's in a location totally distinct from where it's at when I'm inside of my office at 5 o'clock. Okay, and this is speaking to also the entity is keeping its light source and setting it over in alignment to me, aiming light downward over, I guess, like a laser over building 1818 and shooting through the closed blinds inside of my apartment at 5:55 p.m. Whereas the entity was keeping its light source here at the previous video that I captured, and today it's setting continuously going this way. Whereas where I'm at the office, again, pointing out where it's at, adjacent to building 1810, and it stays down there at that trajectory. I'm never turning around in this direction to face building 1806. Reference my Alvarado Gardens map that I published for you to see the building numbers. This is building 1818. I'm inside of building 1806. That's building 1800. And my leasing office is adjacent to building 1810. I'm facing building 1810. And you're looking at the light source that's adjacent to building 1810. At no point is the light source coming behind in this direction toward building 1818 when I'm stepping out of my office at 5 p.m. And I'm showing you what is the maintenance of the light source, which is aiming light diagonally across that parking lot and across the sidewalk outside of my office. This is entirely different from that. Also pay attention to that, okay? This is stalking with light. And a stalker cannot be consistent because a stalker is by nature, by definition, following. So because it's following me and remaining where I'm at in my apartment, that's why it's engaging in that inconsistent presence of what is today being present and setting while it is over building 1818, which is supposed to be the explanation for what you see in here. This light has nothing to do with the placement of that light source. You already know that because you'll see light inside the pattern of the blinds, which was in my living room, while I showed you the light source over my head as I stood inside of the same apartment just the other day at 11:17 in the morning. And you're looking at what was not sunlight while the shadows were appearing on the ceiling. What was not sunlight while the pattern of the blinds were appearing on the ceiling. It has nothing to do with the sunlight. This is a demonic environment. This is just one method of light. You're looking at what is capturing the phenomenon just in the same way I'm showing you the phenomenon with this engineered light. It's the same with this phenomenon with this light source. And again, another scope of analysis is capturing it so that you can clearly see it, what would never be seen, what's never occurring at the same time. What you can see out of the window at 706 West Hope Boulevard, you cannot see out of the bedroom window of Alvarado Gardens, building 1806, apartment 6, or any building here. It's not appearing in this sky space over here. That's capturing what is the P.O.C., the pattern of conduct, okay? This is where the Los Angeles Police Department is ceaselessly group stalking. The Los Angeles Police Department are demon possessed. They are demonstrating it while I'm showing you all of their iterations of engaging in the pattern of conduct. They are demonstrating it while they are present in the environment. The environment is present. The phenomenon is present for that criminal purpose. The entity cannot do it without the people. That's why it's there around me at Starbucks at 706 West Holt. That's why it's here around me at Alvarado Gardens, at inside of my apartment at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6. That's why it's here for the duration of the day. And it's also, again, this is probative evidence of what is, they literally just punctuated the point that's already established, by the way. It kept it longer. The entity was not doing this before. I get off at 5. The entity was not aiming any light while I got off of work. Okay. And in addition to that, it's not even consistent because the entity's light source was setting in alignment to the parking lot this whole time. As I'm going back and reviewing documentation of what the entity has already committed, the entity is engaging in the provision of more evidence as to its stalking with an environment and ongoing acts of terrorism. It is impossible to reconcile that, which I'm already showing as a matter of record. The entity is engaging in what is the ongoing engagement of what is malice, of what is being a dangerous, obsessed psychopath that is stalking to an unfathomable degree, and what is already shown to be a matter of being a group stalker. All of this is relevant to the prosecution. When you're removing these state actors from the Los Angeles Police Department, when you are removing them from their placement as Ontario Police Department officers, when you are removing those departments, all of this is relevant to that. And this is why. because this is the system that they're operating in, and this system is now being exposed, and in clear defiance, and to threaten the life of the American citizen. The people of the state are also subject to what is punishment while they are posing the same threat. In other words, this is a psychopath. I'm referencing the entity that acts via the people and the entity that acts directly. This is a psychopath that's an obsessed stalker that has already been exposed and is still showing their obsession, still showing their ongoing relentless delusion to continue to do it, because this is not the natural environment. It is the operation of the demonic. And the demon possessed are in this environment, and they're watching their own exposure. And while that stalker is watching that exposure, they're still engaging in it, just like you would any other obsessed stalker in a superior court who can't get over their ex-girlfriend who's hiding in their bushes day in and day out and trying to take pictures of them and record them in the bathroom, keeping them under surveillance while they're undressed. In the same way, this is even worse because it's a public entity that's employing very demented methods of engaging in a corporate sex act and terrorism. The entity isn't showing that same level of threatening obsession. That's exactly how that's analyzed. Okay, it is currently 6:02 p.m. and this is the maintenance of a light source, and I am inside of building 1806. The direction that I'm facing is not going to be a mystery. The time of day, the ongoing coexisting evidence as to what has already been documented, speaking to the impossibility, and speaking to what has been documented even here at Alvarado Gardens, speaking to this impossibility. And with regard to what is the coexisting presence of what is impossible light, that's never going to be present under any circumstances whatsoever. This is engineered light. It's not even natural sunlight, and it's just one method. All right, it is currently, again, 6:02 p.m., so I just wanted you to see that, how the entity is engaging in what is different, changed behavior. And this is not to be mistaken with what is clearly different and in alignment to the leasing office door. I am not in any position where you can see the same thing from my bedroom window that you're seeing through at diagonal to the parking lot of my leasing office. It's not the same position, and the entity engages in this very, very often, but this is clearly distinct, okay? And this is going on to the record, again, which the entity cannot ever get past. That's why you document. That's why you document, because you keep that record and it remains. It is currently, again, 6:03 p.m. and this is P.O.C. Pay attention to that light activity, because that's speaking to the direction of light. That's supposedly light that's going in this direction, right? But you're looking at the light to my apartment over here, aiming light toward my direction and into my apartment, okay? It's not an aiming light supposedly onto this building such that it's hitting the windows. Aiming light in this direction. You're paying attention how all day, what's the objective? The demonic objective is to keep light all over the grounds for the duration of the day. And it's supposed to be under the illusion that that's the sun. And so every aspect of that illusion is shattered. Okay, especially when you're getting what's not occurring. That couldn't be the sun outside of the window of 706 West Hall Boulevard. That is speaking to what is a state system, and it is described as the P.O.C. All right, it is again 6:04 p.m.